out with a movie review for you going over there, Super Mario Brothers. I need to start because I'm going to say some things at the end of this review, but let me start by saying I did enjoy this movie. I thought it was really good. I laughed. Like it was a fun little ride. There was one thing that that I didn't like, but we'll get to that in the end. But let's get right into this and talk about the Super Mario Brothers, the Super Mario Bros, and spoilers. There will be spoilers. We are going to spoil the bejesus out of this one and give the Mario Brothers their proper respect, because that wasn't always showcased here in the film. So now in the movie stars, we're in the Brooklyn, and when we're in Brooklyn, it shows that Mario and Luigi, they have a commercial for their plumbing business. And again, the nostalgia trip in this movie, if not for nothing, it's worth going to see this movie just for the nostalgia. Because back in the old Super Mario Brothers Super Show, when Captain Lou Albano played, Mario, God rest his soul, they had their opening introduction, their opening theme. It was a rap song where it was like Mario and Luigi trying to unplug a bathtub, and then they got sucked into the bathtub, bruising and confusing everybody, discovers you can't help but get hooked on the brothers. That was actually, because a lot of people are going to think like, oh, they just came up with that, little cute rap thing just for their commercial for their plumbing business. But no, like that song was actually their theme song back in the day, back in the 90s, when they had their first cartoon show. So then after they do the cartoon show, they go back home, and then it shows like their family, like they actually have a family. And when they're sitting in their house, there were punch out Mike Tyson. I don't want to say Mike Tyson. There were punch out pictures all over the wall. Like Little Mac was on the wall, like Bald Bull, Soda Popinski. Like the punch out was represented. Mario was in his room playing Kid Icarus on the Nintendo. So this was cool. Like I said, I was born in 1980, so like the nostalgia trip for me was awesome. It was definitely awesome. Then we do find out that Mario and Luigi do not have the strong Italian accents, because in the commercial they had the accents. They were just like, oh, it's me, Mario, and me, Luigi, and with the Super Mario, bro. They had the super capes in the commercial, like the super capes from Super Mario World. They had the capes in the commercial because they in their commercial they called themselves the Super Mario Brothers, and they both had the capes on. So that actually made me smile. But then after they did the commercial and they yelled cut, then they went from going like speaking like this and to the Luigi and the fettuccine. They were just like, okay, so that was the commercial. Are we good with this? And I was like, wait, so they don't have the strong Italian accents? And I kind of see why. Like that didn't bother me. And I see why they did that, because if you had them speaking, like, first of all, you would have offended the Italian community halfway through the film. And then it would have just been hard to understand them at some point, because like that thick ass accent, the way they were talking, it would have just made the dialogue between the characters very silly. We then have the opening shot scene where Bowser goes to the to the penguin fortress. And then, they ask, do you yield? And he's like, I do not. And then he steals the star, and the whole point of him, he stole the star because when you got the power star, that, it makes you like invincible. It makes you invincible. Like, nobody can hurt you. I was under the impression he was going to take that star and use it to try to take over the Mushroom Kingdom and try to like rule over I Survey. His motivation for the entire movie of why he stole that star was just so he can get the princess to marry him. And I was like, okay. But then one of his goons had asked him, he was like, so boss, what if she doesn't want to marry you? He was like, well, then we'll just use the star and take over the Mushroom Kingdom. And I was like, there it is. So, but it was 80% him wanting to marry her. So that's why he took the star. And now he's, declared all out war on the Mushroom Kingdom. Mario and Luigi, when they're home, they're talking to their parents. Everybody but their mama basically told them they ain't shit, because they said that the two of them actually used to have jobs. They had jobs at a really popular like plumbing place, like a plumbing business, and they quit that business to start their own business. His dad said you were stupid for doing that, and then like his brother called him a joke, and then like their former boss called him a joke. Everybody basically shitted on them and said that they wasn't beans, and then Mario was just like, I'm tired of being told like I ain't shit, whatever. They're watching TV, and they see that downtown Brooklyn, because we're in Brooklyn and some parts of Queens. When they're in Brooklyn, there was like this major like valve or something. It was like flooding downtown Brooklyn, and everybody was like, Brooklyn's in trouble. So then Mario told Luigi, he was like, hey, let's go down here, because if we can save Brooklyn from this flood, then they have to give the Mario brothers the respect that we so richly deserve. They go into the drain pipes, they start looking around for valves and everything, and then they end up in this hidden room that has this one big green pipe. Luigi gets sucked up into the pipe by accident. Mario goes to help him, and then he gets sucked up into the pipe, and then we end up in the Mushroom Kingdom, where, because like whenever whenever Mario and Luigi go into the pipes and we do the air, you know, like we we never see the transition of them going through the pipes to the other side. They actually showed us the transition when they go through the pipes. They're in like a crystal see-through pipe and they were just like flying through the air. But then there was a moment where the two of them were together and then they got separated. Luigi ended up going into the Dark Lands, which is where Bowser is from, and then Mario ended up in the Mushroom Kingdom. Here's one of the problems that I had with the movie. When Luigi landed in the Dark Lands, he was in the Darklands with, like, you know, the wizard and the skull bone characters and the Shy Guys. The shout out to the Shy Guys, Mario too. Like the Shy Guys and the whole thing. They gave him like the whole Luigi's Mansion thing, because in the commercial, in the trailer, it made it seem like they were going to do the Luigi's Mansion thing for a minute. He was in the mansion for like 2 seconds, then he ran back out. So they shitted on Luigi with the Luigi Mansion. They kind of shitted on Luigi throughout the entire thing. So then he gets knocked out by the Shy Guys and he gets dragged off to Bowser's castle, and, you know, and then now he's a prisoner. And I'm just like, because the thing, you know what, I'm gonna get to that in the end. So now Luigi's captured. Mario ends up in the Mushroom Kingdom. He bumps into Toad. You know, Toad is very spry, very spunky, you know, kind of guy. He takes him to go see the princess. And when he takes him through the Mushroom Kingdom, this was dope for nostalgia too, because he was showing them like the Mushroom Kingdom, like the shops, like the pipes, the drain pipes, like all the secret cool stuff. The mushroom. Mario doesn't like mushrooms, which I thought was hilarious. And then, but then when there was a moment where they had three coin blocks. And one of the mushroom people was supposed to pick one item from one of those blocks. You had to pick the item. They did that in Super Mario Bros. 3, where when you go into the mushroom house, there's 3 chests, and you get to pick one item from one chest. But there was a certain song that played when you go into that mushroom house, and they played that song when that guy was choosing, an item out of one of those chests. And that is very, very detailed. Like, for you to remember to put that, like, for you to put that song in that specific moment, that is paying very close attention to detail, and I have to give them props for that. The musical score in general, because they played all the songs, like the Mario World songs, the Mario 3, so they played all the songs. So then Mario goes through the drain pipes, they get to the castle, they do the joke where the guards said that the princess is in another castle. Mario ends up sneaking into the castle, and then when he gets into the castle for the first time, we bump into the princess, and this is where the movie kind of took a left turn for me. So, he gets to the princess. The princess has decided, she figures out that Bowser's on his way to take over the Mushroom Kingdom. So in order for her, and she knows that her Toad army isn't enough to, battle Bowser's army. So she says that she needs to get the Kong army to help, her take down, like Bowser's kingdom. And by the Kong army, she's talking about Donkey Kong. She's talking about the gorillas, the apes, whatever you want to call them, the monkey. She bumps into Mario. Her and Mario meet. Mario's like, look, the princess is like, look, I'm about to go to the Kong, the Kong jungle to go ask for their help. But he's like, look, well, Bowser got my brother and I need to save my brother, so I'm coming with you. She tells him, she's like, in order for you to come with me, I need you to do this obstacle course, which is basically the classic, the first level in the original Super Mario Brothers game, jumping over like the flower, hitting the blocks, going through the thing. Mario did that shit like 59 times and he couldn't do it, and then they played the I Need a Hero, which I thought was funny. But then the princess did it in one shot because she was just like, oh, I'm the princess and I do everything, and I'm undefeated and I'm just good at everything. I am in no way, shape, or form a damsel in distress. That point was driven home very clearly throughout the course of this entire film. Mario finally does the obstacle course. Princess made fun of him for some reason throughout the man's trying to find his brother, like, who's probably gonna die, and Princess was making fun of him because he couldn't do the obstacle course. I was like, this is weird. So anyway, he finally does the obstacle course like 90%, and then she's just like, screw her, come with me. Toad ends up showing up. Toad goes with them. The three of them go down to the Donkey Kong jungle, and this was dope because we find out that the Donkey Kong Kingdom is responsible for creating Super Mario Kart, because the Kongs, they were very they had a good ingenuity. They were building like houses, airplanes, they built vehicles, they built cars, they built roads, like the whole Donkey Kong Raceway. Like, the Kongs are responsible for building Super Mario Kart. They go see the OG Cranky Kong, who's in the video game. If you ever played Donkey Kong Jungle or Donkey Kong Country, like, who these characters are. Cranky Kong was there, and then he told the princess that, the Kongs are we're such an advanced race. Why should we team up with you? And then she was just like, well, if you don't team up with us, after Bowser takes us down, he's coming for you next. So then Cranky Kong said, he was like, look, if you want us to help you, then one of you has to take down the Kong champion, which happens to be my son. And we all knew it was Donkey Kong. Like, even the song, The song that played when Donkey Kong first showed up and he was doing the Donkey Kong thing, I think that was the original theme song for the Donkey Kong cartoon that came out back in the day. And I thought that was dope. And then he was just like, because Donkey Kong, he's like a show off, like he's a pretty boy. He's the son of the king, so he's kind of arrogant. Diddy Kong, Baby Kong, and like the female Kong from Donkey Kong Country, they were in the stands watching, watching the battle between Mario and Donkey Kong. And that was funny because Diddy even got a shout out because Diddy was cheering for Donkey Kong, and then Cranky was like, "Shut up, Diddy Kong," and then he was just like, "Oops, Diddy Kong Racing." So then Donkey Kong and Mario are gonna have a fight now, and if Mario wins, then the Kong army is gonna help the princess, take down Bowser. During the fight, they tapped into the OG Donkey Kong kart video game, and that was nice because they had like levels, like different levels of certain things where you can jump from different levels back to different levels, and then obviously there was a moment where Mario was at the bottom level, Donkey Kong was at a top level, and when Mario was trying to make his way up the level, Donkey Kong was throwing barrels at him, and I bust out laughing like in the theater. Shout out to the OGs. So then there were power-ups that were placed all over the field, like the fire. And Mario took the blue one, which makes you shrink. And I remember that from a video game. I just don't remember which one. But then, he ended up hitting another power block, which revealed a cat suit. And I'm like, what game did... It's like, there was a moment where I stopped playing Super Mario Brothers games, and I clearly tapped out right before the cat suit. Because one of the power-ups he got was a cat suit. And I don't remember no damn cat suit. But he had a cat suit. He defeated Donkey Kong. And then the Donkey Kong army was just like, all right, cool. He said that the way we're going to defeat him, we're going to use the racetracks. And we're going to go down to the racetracks. And we're going to cut Bowser off at the pass and, and get the drop on Bowser before he gets the drop on us. They ended up making Mario his race car for Mario Kart. Princess got her little motorcycle because she's a perfect motorcycle rider. And there's no way that anybody can outride the princess. And then, Toad, he did this big ass monster truck. They're driving around on the racetrack. Bowser, who was singing about the peaches, he found out that Mario and the gang was on the way. And his entire motivation for wanting to stop Mario wasn't because Mario was going to stop his plans. It was because Mario was spending time with the princess and he wasn't. And I'm just like, like I'm teetering this line here. But then he went back to taking over the Mushroom Kingdom. And I'm like, that's the stuff. So then, mind you, Luigi's still trapped in Bowser's castle. So now Mario done got all the power-ups. He done got the mushroom. He done got the fire flower. He done got the castle. He done got everything. And Luigi's still trapped in Bowser's castle. They're driving on the track. They get on the Rainbow Road, the good old Rainbow Road. While they're on the Rainbow Road, Bowser's gang, they ambush him. Now it's a race. Now we're having a Mario Kart race. And that was dope. And then during the Mario Kart race, they were using the turtle shells to knock people out. They were using the bananas to trip people up with the bananas. And every single character who was on that racetrack had their vehicle destroyed, taken out, or they went over a cliff. Everybody's driving. Everybody had a bad accident, except who? You guessed it, ladies and gentlemen, the princess. Because the princess is perfect, and she can ride better than everybody, and she was the only character whose vehicle didn't get destroyed during that entire motorcycle race. And when the Rainbow Road exploded, the princess was the only character who survived because she's the princess. So now, and she is not a damsel in distress by no means of the imagination. So the princess rides off. Mario and Donkey Kong go over the cliff. They end up in the ocean. They get swallowed up by a whale. And this was actually a missed opportunity to do the frog suit. Because when they were in the ocean, I was like, this is when you do the frog suit. But there was no frog suit. So they get out of the whale, and then, they try to make their way back to the Mushroom Kingdom. The princess, she goes back to the Mushroom Kingdom, and she tells the mushroom people, she's like, yo, Mario fucked it up. And Bowser's on his way. So she's like, everybody has to flee the kingdom. Bowser shows up. He tells the princess, he's like, oh, if you don't marry me, then I'm going to kill the Toad people. Then she's like, fine, I agree to marry you. And I was like, okay, so finally some vulnerability shown on the princess's part. Like, she's not perfect at everything. And Bowser found a way to get one over on her. No, I say thee nay, because the princess wanted to go to Bowser's kingdom. She agreed to marry him on purpose because she secretly had a blue frozen, because remember, how like they have fire flowers, but there was a Mario game where they also had frozen flowers. She had a secret frozen flower hidden in her bouquet where it gave her ice powers, and then she used the ice powers to take down Bowser, and then she laughed at Bowser and she was like, you fool, you really thought I was gonna marry you, you piece of shit. And then she started taking down the army, and the whole time the princess was taking down Bowser's army, I'm sitting here like, what the hell is the point of Mario even being here? So Mario shows up. Mario ended up, when Mario and Donkey Kong got back to the Mushroom Mushroom Kingdom. They went to go confront Bowser when they found out that he had the princess. On their way to Bowser's Kingdom, they were fighting. Like, Donkey Kong got a power up because he got a fire flower, and then Mario bust out with the Tanuki suit. And over the course of time, when I was a kid, it was called the Tanuki suit. When I was playing Super Mario Brothers 3, it was called the Tanuki suit. And then at some point, now we just call it the raccoon suit. That's a new thing. I don't know why we started calling it the raccoon suit, but now it's the raccoon suit. So he had the raccoon suit. And back in the day, the raccoon suit, he could turn to stone. Like when you had the Tanuki suit on, when you had the raccoon suit, you were able to turn into a stone statue to hide from opponents. That was also a missed opportunity because they should have had him turn to stone. But that's it. But I guess this is the new raccoon suit, so he can't do that. So he's flying all over the place. He's flying around. He saves Luigi from getting dropped in the lava. And then after he saves Luigi, Donkey Kong saves, like the Kong clan because they had got captured after the race. And then after they save everything, Mario, he's running from Bowser because Bowser has like one of the big ass bullet things chasing Mario throughout the Mushroom Kingdom. Mario had the bullet go into the pipe that both he and Luigi came in from. And when that bullet went into the pipe and exploded, it created like this big like backdraft like rift that pulled everybody into the real world. So now we're in the real world. We're in the real world. Mario's there, Luigi there, the princess there, Toad's there. There was a Yoshi egg at the wedding too, because when Bowser and the princess were having their wedding ceremony, there was a Yoshi egg on the table of gifts when people were presenting gifts. And although the princess busted up the wedding because she's Super Peach, and you can't stop her because she is not a damsel in distress, they missed an opportunity there to not have the Yoshi egg hatch and then have Yoshi go around eating people like throughout the wedding. But I mean, I feel like the reason why they did that was because why would Yoshi be able to save the day? Why would Luigi, break free from his captivity to save the day? Why would Mario even save the day, despite the fact that the movie's called the Super Mario Brothers? No, that was reserved for the Peach. So now we're in the real world. We're back in the Brooklyn, and so we're in Brooklyn. Bowser and Mario were fighting. Luigi's cowering in the corner, and Mario getting his ass beat. And then right when Bowser was about to blow fire and incinerate Mario, Luigi finally found his courage, and then he jumped in Mario's way. He had like a drain pipe cover, and he stopped Bowser from destroying Mario. And then after that, the star ended up behind them. And then finally, after being made out to be a complete helpless fool the entire movie, Luigi finally got a power up. Him and Mario at the same time both touched the star. And when they touched the star power, that was dope because you heard that. So they were glowing and everything. They took out, like the Cooper clan. They took out the Cooper Kingdom. They beat everybody up. They beat up Bowser. And then the princess found one of the blue mushrooms, and then she stuffed it in Bowser's mouth. He turned small, and then they put him in a jar. They defeated Bowser. Everybody in the neighborhood saw it. Everybody in Brooklyn saw it. And they gave the Mario Brothers a standing ovation because the Mario Brothers, they were a joke throughout the course of the entire film, and now they've got the respect that they so richly deserve. Their dad saw it. He was like, "Those are my boys right there." And then it's like, "Mama mia," and then like that, so that was cool. They got their respect. And then after that, like they all posed and they hugged each other, and they gave, they did the right on pose. But then the weird thing, in the very next scene, there was no conversation about Mario and Luigi talking to their parents about what their next steps were going to be. There was no conversation about them deciding what to do with the business, with their Mario Brothers, like plumbing business. After the scene where we saw the newspaper that said Super Mario Brothers Save Brooklyn, in the very next scene, Mario and Luigi wake up in a mushroom hut. They're just in the Mushroom Kingdom, and then the credits rolled, and I was just like, why did they why are they there? Why did they decide to stay? Did they go back and forth between Brooklyn and the Mushroom Kingdom? Did they repair the Mushroom Kingdom after the bullet exploded the thing? What was the driving force for them to want to stay in the Mushroom Kingdom versus going back? I didn't understand that. I was just like, I feel like we ran out of budget, and there was just like a whole conversation there that we needed to have. And then in a mid-credit scene, Bowser is still small, and then he was playing his piano, singing about the peaches, and then like the guards told him to keep quiet. And I thought this is another missed opportunity because in that moment when Bowser was locked up in Princess's castle, that would have been the moment to have the Koopa kids show up and break King Dad out of the prison. If the Koopa kids would have showed up, I'd have been like, okay, so this is what part 2 is going to be about, we getting the Koopa kids. I would have liked to have seen that, but we didn't get that. So it was just a joke scene, just watching Bowser in a cage. And then in the final scene, there's like an end credit scene where when it showed you like the debris, because remember when Mario and Luigi were in Brooklyn and they went into the sewers and they found that original drain pipe. Remember, that whole drain pipe got exploded by the bomb. So they went back to that whole area. That area was kind of in rubble, but there was a Yoshi egg that was there. And then the egg hatched, and then you heard Yoshi, and then that's how the movie ended, because now Yoshi is in Brooklyn and he's walking around the drain pipes of Brooklyn. Thank you for tuning in. Okay, so this was good. Just based on the nostalgia, I'm gonna give this an 8.5. Just, it was a good movie. It was a good movie. There were moments where I felt like the plot kind of got rushed along, because it was just like Mario had just got to the Mushroom Kingdom. He asked 3 questions, and now all of a sudden we're on our way to Donkey Kong Country. So I just thought there should have been maybe like a little more exploration of the Mushroom Kingdom, but we were just quickly hitting the beats to get to get to certain things. The movie is a little less than 2 hours. It's like an hour and like 40 minutes, so it's definitely a good watch. Like I said, the nostalgia trips with the Yoshis and the music and the coins and the obstacle courses and everything. They did it like, you could tell like everybody that was involved was a foot. I mean, because we're all fans of Super Mario, but they did it to a T. They did all the right stuff. They did all the cool stuff. Like I said, even the callbacks to old Nintendo games like Punch Out and Kid Icarus, I thought was really good too. Now, here's the thing that I didn't like. And if you haven't figured it out listening to my review up until this point, the one thing, there are 2 things about the movie I didn't like. The one thing I did not like about the movie, the number one thing I did not like about the movie, was the princess. Because I get it. In the original Super Mario Brothers video games, in every Super Mario Brothers video game besides Mario 2, the princess is the damsel in distress. Bowser kidnaps the princess, and then Mario and Luigi have to save the princess from Bowser. Fine. That was always the story. That was the standard. If you were going in a direction where you didn't, if you're doing the female empowerment thing where you don't want the princess to be a damsel in distress because you don't want that narrative put out there, and you want her to be a strong, fearless, independent woman, fine. I honestly don't have a problem with that. The problem with it is you overdid it and you shoved it in everybody's face to the point where it was getting annoying. Like, first of all, she was arrogant. Like, it's one thing for her to be like, okay, I'm perfect at obstacle courses and I can perfectly ride a motorcycle and I can fight and I can do every single thing because I am not a damsel in distress. That's fine. But the arrogance behind it, with her like making fun of people, because the thing is, this is called Super Mario Brothers. Like, Mario is the hero here. Mario was the one who was struggling because he felt like he was a nobody back in Brooklyn. He was struggling in the Mushroom Kingdom because he was trying to save his brother, and he's trying to get acclimated to the Mushroom Kingdom, and he's not doing the obstacle courses very well, and he's kind of failing a little bit. The princess basically laughed at his failure. Like when he was making mistakes, she was making jokes, and she was calling him a loser, and she was really making fun of him. And I was like, that's not cool, because it's like he's the hero of the movie, and and then the way the princess was presented, it was just like, oh, I was on my way to go talk to the Donkey Kong Country anyway. So if you just want to come with me, you can just regularly come with me. She was just like, oh, you're going to fight Donkey Kong? I could have done that. You don't have to do that. When the Mario Kart thing happened, she was just like, oh, I can perfectly ride a bike. And I won basically the princess won the race. And then, she gets back to the Mushroom Kingdom. When Bowser shows up, she pretended that, he got the drop on her. But she was like, no, I have a plan because I have this frozen flower and, you'll never get the drop on me. And there was a moment in the movie where there were too many moments in the movie where I was just like, yo, can she just shut up for 5 seconds so I can focus on what everyone else is doing? And then there were moments where because they overdid it with her and they presented her as such a strong, powerful person, I'm kind of sitting here like, I don't see the point of having Mario even here. There was a moment, there were lots of moments where I'm just like, can she just sit down so I can watch Mario have this adventure? Because she was really taking the shine away from the actual Mario Brothers. And which leads me into the second thing I didn't like. I did not like the fact that they shitted on Luigi, because I was a Luigi fan. My favorite character in Mario was Luigi. Now, if the princess is not going to be the damsel in distress, if she's not going to be Bowser has to capture somebody. And I didn't like the fact that, it's not so much that I didn't like the fact that they made Luigi the one who got captured. Like, let's just call a spade a spade. The whole movie, they turned Luigi into a bitch. Like, he was a coward. He was a sniveling coward. You know, like, and he didn't get any power ups. Like, they did Luigi dirty. Like, let's be honest, they did Luigi dirty. And then it wasn't until like the very end of the film when he got the star power up, and I was just like, okay, like y'all get at least y'all gave him that. Like, y'all gave Luigi something at the end of the movie, because you was making him out to be a bitch like the entire film. And to be honest with you, after the Super Mario Brothers defeated Bowser, because it's their movie, when they defeated Bowser and they put Bowser in the jar, I'm surprised the princess didn't say, oh, well, I could have did that if I would have got the star. I'm like, ain't nobody talking to you. So thanks, but that was it. You know, that was the only thing. Like I said, the one thing about the movie I didn't like was the princess. And I wasn't happy with how they handled Luigi. But share your questions, comments, and or concerns down below. What did you think of the Super Mario Brothers? What did you think of how they handled it? What do you think of the princess, Mario, and Luigi, and Toad, and everything, and all the chili, and the spaghetti, and the blah, blah, blah. So like I said, share your questions, and we'll talk about it. I thought it was good. Like I said, I enjoyed it, and if they come out with a sequel, I'll definitely be there for that as well. Check out my other reviews, because I got Superman and Lois on the channel, the best episode of Superman Lois to date, where young Clark Kent put some respect on his name. And then for the love of God, the Flash review is going to be on my channel as well, but we're on the 26th of April, we're getting that Oliver Queen crossover, so I'm just going to ignore everything that happened up till then. So thanks for tuning in, guys. So yeah, like I said, this was fun. Go check out the Super Mario Brothers. Let's go. Like, that was cool too, because throughout the whole movie, he was doing the whole woohoo and woohoo, and then when he was about to fight Bowser, he was like, let's go. All we were missing was hee hee, I got it. So but check it out. Check out my YouTube channel, like and or subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll keep rolling on for more movies and more goodness as we continue. So until next time, guys, for the Super Mario, take care, and we're out. This will be a